Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the two camp slots that we have been given. There's a lot of questions around on Reddit and the worry that you're going to lose your main camp. So I thought I'd give a demonstration how that kind of works. I mean, of course, we know the game's full of bugs. So I mean, it's kind of depends. I mean, it works. I mean, it should work. I was testing on the dev servers, the test servers. So I mean, it works as good as it's supposed to. But of course, I am sure people are gonna lose some of their camps. I think the risk is probably minimum. But anyway, it is what it is. I think create your camp, and I think once your camps are created, you should be set. I think that's probably the riskiest process. Once you have both camps, and then you should be good. So the other thing I can recommend is, if you're still nervous, create an alt character, test an alt character, play around with it, and then get comfortable. But yeah, I think it's pretty useful to have. And one of the couple things that people have said is, if you're doing all these challenges like building stuff at your camp, and you don't want to mess around with your main camp, which a lot of us don't want to do, and you don't want to go take a workshop, you can use that second camp as that, or you can create a water farm. But anyway, let's get into it. So we can talk a little bit about that a bit later. Anyway, so as you can see, let me show you my camp, which I have a nice, beautiful camp, and I'll be very sad if it got destroyed. But anyway, I have a camp down here in the bog. So I was kind of deciding where to put a second camp. I mean, you can just use it to move around and continue to move in it if you want, and keep it like a tent in a way. It will cost you caps to do that. But anyway, I think most people are probably going to create two static camps. Anyway, I'm going to create one here. Whether I stay here or not will be another question. So the first thing that I suggest you guys do is rename your camps, right? So call it main, call it primary. I think if you click on it, you'll get a option to name it. I think what I'm going to do is call mine primary and secondary. That way, when you actually do the move, that name will come up. So this name is important. You don't want it to call it something that's confusing. Because if you go and move your camp and you click on the wrong one because you put a confusing name or a cool name that you didn't realize that was your primary camp or something like that, you're going to move it. So call it something that obviously makes sense. Camp 1, Camp 2, obviously pretty clear, I think. Call it primary, secondary, call it main, call it do not delete, something that's 100% clear. And I'll show you where that name's going to show up. Okay, so I'm going to call that one, and I'll rename my second one. So let's go ahead and we're going to activate this camp. So we're going to activate this camp. So let's go ahead. There, it's activated. Let's also rename it. And in this case, I'm going to call it secondary. Just so I know, primary, secondary, first, whatever, right? Okay, so it's now activated, but we haven't actually placed. So you can see it's there, unplaced. Okay, so we go look, we'll see an icon on the map. There is my camp down here still, right? Okay, so let's head up here. I've kind of wanted to camp up here. I do a lot of the leader of the pack. So having it here might be kind of useful, but we'll see. I'll see if I stick around here. But anyway, for now, it doesn't really matter. You will need caps to move your create this camp in general. For whatever reason, it's considered a move. It's not really a move. It should really be free. But anyway, let's go ahead. Yeah, we'll go a little bit further up here. I probably won't stay here. I mean, it's just kind of undecided at the moment. Okay, it doesn't really matter at this point. Okay, as you can see, just so before we go there, as you can see, to move your camp for me is 40 caps. So if you're a lower level character, it'll be a little bit cheaper. But yeah, I think in general it's going to be that. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of stupid, right? That you have to still pay to put down a brand new camp. But I guess it's just part of the mechanism of doing that, right? So anyway, we're going to go ahead. And so obviously this is the scariest part. Is it going to destroy my primary camp? And there's a lot of people have those questions, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Now, this is where the important part comes in. So you can see where it says, are you sure you want to place your camp secondary? So that's a keyword there, right? So you want to make sure you name your camps that it is not confusing at all. That is the most important part. So let's go ahead and place our secondary camp right over here. So the first thing we're going to do, if you want, you don't have to do that, but is if you go look, this is not a good thing. Stored. Oh my God. This might just be that I've had. That kind of worries me. I was about to say that should be blank, but anyway. Yeah, there's my secondary camp, my primary camp. But anyway, tell you what, let's go ahead. I wasn't expecting to see that, to be honest. I was expecting to see nothing stored, but I wasn't also expecting to see blueprints. But then again, it's just my main character. I think it's just blueprints and blueprints, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and switch back to our primary. So let's go activate primary camp. Let's go activate camp. Okay, your primary is now activated. So you can do this all in the same session, right? Which is kind of cool. So it's really just a fast travel point. So pick it strategically. So you can fast travel. So that's obviously what I'm doing here. I spend a lot of time up at this area. So that's kind of what I want. So let's go ahead here. And let's go and make sure our camp's still there. And there it is. Our camp is still there. Yeah, there is a cultist group up here. Okay, so let me fast travel to my camp. Just so I can show you the camp's still there. I'm gonna have to join a group here quick. All right, let me join him. Just because I'm overweight. Okay, so as you can see, my other camp here is deactivated. Now, another tip is what I've read so far, and we'll test this in a little bit, is if you want something in both camps, and one of those things could be a decontamination shower, you want to build that in your shelter, right? And the reason is when you drop your shelter, it's going to be the same shelter for both camps. So that's kind of an important tip there, right? So I know at the moment you can't transfer anything between the two camps. That may change eventually. It currently doesn't. They're separate instances. Don't expect it to change. It's just you got to treat it as a completely separate camp. So if you build something expensive like a decontamination shower, put it into your shelter, and that will be where it is. Okay, so here's my beautiful camp. Thank goodness it's still here standing. Okay, so it hasn't destroyed the camp. Okay, and allows me to fast travel here. Okay, and if we look at the map, obviously our other camp's still over there. Right, another kind of cool thing with the deactivation is if people get stuck under your camp, or enemies get stuck under your camp, sometimes they sit there and they just sit there destroying your camp. You can just destroy. You can just make your camp go away. Like if you get griefers, for instance, that are attacking your camp, or there's people at your camp you don't want, you can just make it go away. So those are kind of cool benefits here, right? So let us go down and I'll show you. So we go back and we're gonna activate our secondary camp. And voila, our camp is gone, right? So if you got somebody at camp just annoying you, you can just make your camp go away, which is kind of cool. Or if you have a friend, it happens all the time to me, is they get stuck underneath your camp. I remember getting into a bit of an argument where my friend wanted me to destroy my camp or remove floorboards so she could get out instead of her just fast traveling away. So she would just fast travel to the nearest points of interest. Versus me ripping it apart, which I refused. Now we can easily do that. We can just deactivate. She can get out. I mean, it's still a bit of an effort to do, I guess. But I mean, now you can do it without destroying your camp or anything, right? Which is kind of cool, right? Okay, so let's go back and we can test that shelter theory. So I have a shelter at my main camp. So let's go back. There's my activated camp, which we can now fast travel back there. So I think once you have both your camps set up, if you're going to go with the static route where you have two static camps, I think it's fairly low risk. I think once you've done it, you've done it. You can just let it be. We're probably going to get some additional camp slots. More than likely, you're going to have to buy them through the atomic shop. I can't really see how useful that's going to be. Or, I mean, if you really like camp building, you can build 5 slots or have fast travel points everywhere. You know, like I said, one of the useful things is you can turn yours into a water purifying farm or a farm, and then you can just, or a harvester. Find an area that has a lead deposit or a copper deposit, whatever resource you're looking for, and sell it, or turn it into a profit machine where you just have 10, 15, 20 water purifiers, right? And that's all it is. And then you just generate water, go sell it, and you make some easy caps, right? Okay. Okay, so let's test the shelter quickly here. So let's drop a shelter. Okay, and I should have my shelter intact. Intact is what I've read. So you only get one shelter. Okay, so let's go ahead and enter into that shelter. Okay, and there you go. So a brand new camp, haven't built anything obviously, but as you would expect, your shelter is intact. So this transfer, this is your way to kind of have the same thing at both camps, or if we get additional slots at every camp that you build in the future, right? So you can have shelters, or you can, if you've got more than one shelter, you can have one shelter at one camp and one shelter at the other if you want. But yeah, if you want something at both camps, just build it in your shelter, like a decontamination shower or whatever that expensive kit is, and then you could even just have two. You could just have two camps that are farms, and then all your stuff, like all your machines and stuff, are in your shelter. People don't like going into shelters, so I have a farm with everything underground, and I rarely use it, right? So. But some people probably use it more than I do, right? So anyway, I think it's fairly safe. Go ahead and do that. If you have any questions, let me know. Just as I said, just create those, choose a spot, be strategic, and then you can you can use it as a fast travel point, right? The other thing we might as well check on is you can choose an icon. You can turn your public map. You can turn the icon on and off. In terms of displaying your map, your camp on the map. So if you want it off, you turn it off, so that people can't actually see where your camp is, or if you want. So just kind of remember, it's not obvious. Your vendor machines no longer will display your vendor on the map. They've moved that functionality into this functionality. So even if you power up your vendor, or it's powered, it won't by default be displayed on the map. So you must turn that thing on so people can actually see that it is on the map. If you're part of a public team, they will automatically see your camp, whether you've got this on and off, right? So everyone in your team will see where your camp is, even if you don't display it, is my understanding right now. Just let me know in the comments if that's not true. But yeah, turn that on. So your vendor's on the map. It's no longer part of that functionality. And then we got a whack of icons, which is really cool. I think this is kind of an extra, I guess quality of life, if you will, where we can actually choose a little icon for our map, have it a little bit unique, so people can actually see it. So it kind of just changes the display up a little bit, right? Anyway, that's all I've got that I know right now. I haven't really played too much around with this. I haven't really found a real use for a second camp, other than I'll probably turn it into just using it for challenges or making it a water purifier. I'm sure at some point I will probably make a proper camp when I get bored and have time. But there you go. Hope you found that useful. If you did, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.